God's Christian warriors know where they want the country to go, and they're not going to stop fighting until their battle is won.
Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King! Christ is King!
This is Danelle Turcini with Positive Christian Agenda.
Danelle Turcini is trying to change America. One phone call, one email, one law at a time.
Okay, you can call him and have him call me.
This is what grassroots politics is all about.
And it just makes that connection for you.
And God's Christian warriors are masters at it.
Hello. My job is I deal with getting Christians involved in the public process.
Right. For what reason?
To influence government.
To do what?
To be we the people. To influence government as citizens of this country.
And then we also provide you with the hundreds of bills that they're trying to pass.
We first met Danelle at a conference where Pastor Rick Scarborough was speaking.
We need to be impacting elections when the candidates are being selected.
If you go to the website,
Turcini was working, getting Christians to use their voices to influence politics.
Yeah, so I'm doing the pro-life work.
I traveled to her home base outside Seattle, Washington, to get an inside look at how she does her job.
So this is my office.
Yep. Where you rally the troops.
Yes.
What is that picture back there?
This is a picture at the East Wing of the White House in the Blue Room. I was the Washington State Church Outreach Coordinator.
It's the president there
There's
who's
the
thanking
president.
you for your hard work. Great job, George Bush.
Right.
On the walls, maps of Washington State's legislative districts, photographs of all the legislators she's targeting.
But I like to have the pictures here because we're dealing with human beings. So, because
But
we
whose
want to-
minds, many of them, you're trying to change.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and understand, and and inform.
During the past legislative session, her organization says it facilitated nearly 59,000 phone calls and sent twice-weekly email alerts to nearly 100,000 people.
Tuesday, we actually sent out a reminder. We had sent out a big alert on Friday.
About the domestic partnerships.
Yeah, that was the domestic partnership.
And how long, I mean, do you spend, how many hours a day doing this?
During session, I work on average probably about 12 hours a day. It's nonstop.
Turcini is a mother and a grandmother who became involved in politics more than 20 years ago. At that time, she supported a woman's right to abortion until she saw an ultrasound image of her second child.
All of a sudden, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is a baby. I remember driving home from the clinic that day and thinking, they're killing babies. Abortion kills babies. So naturally, I started thinking, well, what can I do about that?
So you wanted then to change the law?
I realized
The antidote.
the antidote to this travesty was to change the law.
They don't want anything to slow down abortions.
Turcini was working for a group called Positive Christian Agenda.
And what do we need Danelle to do here to round up the troops?
That's her boss, Joe Featon, a politically minded pastor who leads one of the state's most influential megachurches.
We're trying to hold back the barbarians who want to encroach upon the empire, if you will. And we're saying, no, the values of Christianity should be in the marketplace of ideas. They should be out there for all to see and to contemplate. Well, congregation, let's dedicate Hannah to the Lord.
Featon was instrumental in the fight to define marriage in Washington state as one man, one woman. And although American law prohibits him from endorsing candidates from the pulpit, he gets around that by referring parishioners to a personal website to see his pastor's pics.
The secularists always say, you're trying to set up a theocracy. You're trying to put your values on us. And I say to myself, hey, wait a second here. This is the way it's always been in America. You come along with your secular agenda. You're the ones trying to put your values on America, not me. Our values are native here. It's yours that are foreign. You're the illegal alien here, not me.
Danelle and her group also would bring their concerns directly to legislators.
can you meet us in the middle of the rotunda, kind of near the gold seal?
This session, they lobbied for parental notification for abortions, against a domestic partnership bill, and against a sex education bill. Small groups such as hers can have a big impact.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
People don't understand the power they have by just getting involved and just get a few friends with you, and then it quickly rises to the attention of people like me and other elected officials.
Perhaps nobody in America knows that better than Ralph Reed, one of the most influential Christians in American politics.
You know, one of the reasons why it's hard to build a moderate or centrist political movement is because moderates are moderate. You know, they're just moderate. I mean, what do you get excited about? You know, whereas on the left or the right, people are really committed.
Can you give me the zip code ranges for the district?
Reed was the mastermind behind the Christian Coalition, the grassroots organization that transformed American politics. It was founded in 1989 on the coattails of Pat Robertson's failed bid for president.
The conservative Christians in the 80s, prior to Robertson, were voting Republican in the general election, but they weren't really involved in the machinery of the Republican Party. Robertson really changed all that.
Reed turned them into a political force. He mobilized voters using direct mail, sending on millions of voter guides that focused on the smaller local races. It was a new type of campaign, stealth politics, conducted under the radar.
And if you sort of show up in Washington and hold a news conference and say, I'm in charge now, a lot of people shoot at you. So it might be smarter to go out and run 1,000 people for school board and state legislature and city council, and nobody really shoots at you.
By 1994, the Christian Coalition claimed 1.3 million members. And that fall, its influence was really felt.
Last night was one of the most decisive off-year elections in American history.
Republicans won a majority in Congress for the first time in 40 years. And Christian conservatives were credited with winning half those races. God's warriors were now a force to be reckoned with in Washington. But today in Washington state, the Democrats are in charge, and Donnell Turricini's agenda faces a losing battle. Here, she's getting a reality check from Republican leader Richard DeBolt.
You're not stopping anything this year. I mean...
Okay, so there's no chance?
No. Their train is running. They have their agenda. They've kind of focused in on what they're going to do. They're not really open to moderating that at all.
His words proved correct. This year's positive Christian agenda did not go forward. For Donnell, the setback is just part of the process. There are many battles still to be fought.
And so no, I will not stop as long as I feel compelled in my heart to continue along this path. I will continue to work the grassroots. Hello, this is Donnell.
We're here today to proclaim that there's going to be a sweeping of the Holy Spirit across this nation of ours.
In America today, is it even possible to separate faith and politics? I traveled to Minnesota to meet a preacher.
There is a spiritual war going on. There is a corrupting influence of having power over others. America is not the kingdom of God.
So Greg, if I were to Google you, all it says is heretic, heretic, heresy.
That's not all it says. Come on, it can't be that bad.
You stirred up a bee's nest.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of controversy that surrounded some of my ideas on stuff.
In American society, where conservative Christianity and right-wing politics have become married, Greg Boyd wants a divorce.
I am very concerned